Hello and welcome to the second part of my bandsaw build. In this episode I'm going to be taking all the parts that we took apart in the first video and we're going to be putting them all back together and making some cool improvements along the way. So we'll jump straight into it, and the first thing we're going to have to do is get the framework put back together. But to go over the framework quickly, all I've done is cleaned it up and give it a nice coat of green paint. I decided to remove the stickers on the outside, and I also decided to keep the original colour on the inside. And to paint it, all I did was sand off the original paint with my sander, and then just put a coat of primer on it and a nice coat of the green that I decided to use. I've decided to use green, and I'm probably going to use green for a lot of my other tools in my workshop that are going to be coming up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the framework back together, and then we can start adding bits and modifying it as we go. Okay, so that's now the electronics assembled, and let's just give it a quick test. You will see I added a light up here, and that is completely flexible. I can move that about to wherever I want it, and there's a little switch down here to turn it on, which is great, and I can move it around, and that's going to light directly onto my table. I've also got the variable speed and whatnot. Let's just give it a quick test. All works fine. That's the electronics. So the next job is going to be to get the rollers back on, put the blade back on, and get all that lined up and nicely working. Okay, so I've done a quick test run and it all seems to work fine. I've taken the cover back off now, as you can see, and I'm going to work on the next upgrade, and that is going to be this guy here. This is going to be my guide on this side here, and my plan is to mount this to the side like that, and then have it being able to move up and down like that. One thing to note here is I've left the original guide on the bottom. I'm going to leave it on for now, see how we get on with it, and we might change it out in the future, but for now I'm going to leave it in. And to make up the actual guide itself, I've got some different aluminium profiles here. I've got a load of different bearings. I've also got some little knobs here, the ones we made last week. And we'll just make up something and see how it turns out. So that's going to all be B-roll, and let's see what happens. So now I want to work on the table. Now for the table I've got a few ideas, but the main problem that I've got to solve is that the table is not flat. So if I put a ruler on here, I can rock it around. That is the main problem. So I've got this sheet of high pressure laminate which is going to go over the top, and I'm going to cut it out so that it can be screwed on there. And I've also got some of these tracks here, and these tracks are going to go on the front and on the sides. And I've got some ideas on a fence, and I've also got another little idea for an extending table at the back there. But all that is going to be in B-roll, which you are going to see now. Okay, so let's just take a quick look at some of the upgrades that we did. First of all, we've got the light up the top here, and you can move it right down to the workpiece and you can really light up where you're working on the table. Second upgrade which I did, I'm going to move the bandsaw a little bit here so you can see a bit better, but I added an extendable table at the back here, so I can pull this out and the table extends all the way out about the same width of the table again at the back. So if I'm cutting longer pieces of wood, I've got more support on the rear. Another upgrade was the improved guides here. They're really solid, but I still have yet to figure out a way of having them having a way to keep them up or keep them down, locking them into position basically. So I've still got to work on that. It's going to be the subject of a future video. We're obviously going to revisit this and do some more upgrades in the future. Another thing I built, which was this, I sort of built this off camera and it still needs to be sort of finished. I've got to screw this piece on down here. But this is a fence and it goes in the track on the front here, if I can just get it in. And you can lock it down on the front here and it's really solid. And if I loosen this nut on the front, I can adjust the alignment. So yeah, overall I'm really happy with how it all came out. I'm really happy with how it all works. Some of the things that I've got to improve, like I say, the guide, I need to find a way of, I think I'm going to have a knob with maybe some gears so that I just turn it to go up and down. I think I'm going to make new wheels for it because the wheels, although I redressed them in the first part, they're still not perfect. They've still got a slight wobble to them. Even though they've got new bearings, been redressed, they've still got a slight wobble. I think the actual centre of the wheel bearing is slightly loose, so the bearing doesn't fit snugly into the wheel itself. So I'll probably make some new wheels in the future. Other than that, I'm really happy with it. And I can't wait to start making some more projects using a bandsaw. Speaking of which, it's obviously Easter over the weekend, so I've got a little Easter special, and it's a project that's going to be done on the bandsaw. It's just going to be a quick one, but be sure to subscribe so you don't miss that for tomorrow. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to find a place on my table and I'm going to bolt it down, because obviously if it's bolted down it's going to be easier to set up and align the guides and whatnot, and it's not going to move when I'm pushing my work through it. So yeah, I'd like to thank you for watching, and this is going to be a project that's going to be continuing. I'm going to do future upgrades and whatnot, so be sure to like and subscribe, and if you've got any ideas for any upgrades that you would do, then let me know. I've got a couple more ideas, but like I say, we're going to visit that in the future. Thanks for watching and I'll see you again next week.